So welcome everybody to this session on Alma Cloud Apps. What are they and how to use them? This is Yoel Kortick, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris, and this is part of our ongoing series, the Ex Libris Knowledge Days 2022. We're in the midst of this session now of this series. I'm going to send out this link to everybody just in case there's anybody there who has not yet gone into this page. Those of you watching the video on YouTube, you can see the link to this page in the description of the video. And just to see where we are in the sessions, we already had the new and improved Alma overlap analysis tool that looked at electronic collections, compared what the institution has, what's in the community zone, etc. Then we did resource sharing item availability, fiscal period closure. We had 3 sessions on the fiscal period closure. By the way, there's links here to all of the recordings. And now we're at what are cloud apps and how to use them in Alma. The recording to this session will also be located here once we finish. Also on YouTube. Also a notification will go out to the Alma list. And also on this page is supporting material. There's a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation. I will be showing just the beginning of this PowerPoint presentation. The rest of what we'll be doing, we will be showing live. However, let's go into the PowerPoint. We do need, just to get everyone straight on what is the cloud apps, why are we using them, etc. We'll begin very briefly with this presentation. Only the introduction and then the accessing and activating the cloud apps in the live demo, of course, will be live. Feel free to send in the chat any questions or comments you may have, and we'll be glad to discuss them. So cloud apps. Cloud apps go beyond the core functionality of Alma. We're going to take a look at 6 different cloud apps today, time permitting. So when we say the cloud apps go beyond the core functionality of Alma, for example, the bulk scan in the cloud app. In Alma, you can scan in items one by one. The bulk scan in is beyond that core functionality and allows to scan in a file of barcodes. Copying user roles, there's nothing in Alma that allows you to take one user and copy his or her roles to another user, so it's beyond the core functionality. So that's what we mean by beyond the core functionality. Delete your sets. There's a cloud app we're going to look at soon whereby the staff user can delete multiple sets at a time. That does not exist in Alma, so again, it's beyond the core functionality. That's what we mean by beyond the core functionality. Then the other important thing to point out is the cloud apps are, as the name suggests, in the cloud. When there's a cloud app, there's no need to have any local environments to run it on. It doesn't run as a browser add-on. It's added into your user of Alma. When you're logged into Alma, you will see it anywhere. If you go to a different PC, different browser, once you log in, you will see your cloud apps. It's not in addition to the browser. That's an important point because sometimes people who are used to the browser add-ons will get confused and think that it's an add-on to a browser. But it's not related to the browser, nor is it related to any local server hosting or local environments. It's all in the cloud. In order to be able to use the cloud apps, the institution needs to state that they want to use the cloud apps, and that is done in the configuration menu. I'm going to click on the bottom left here, configuration, and to the general. And here we have Cloud Apps Configuration. I'm under General Configuration right in the middle, Cloud Apps Configuration. And if this checkbox, which states Enable Cloud Apps, is checked, that means that this institution can use Cloud Apps. There's also 2 self-explanatory radio buttons here. Allow selected and hide selected. If you only want your institution to be able to use certain cloud apps, that you can say allow selected and select specific ones, or hide selected and select specific ones you want to hide. However, the vast majority just do enable cloud apps. I haven't seen one of the others. It doesn't mean I haven't checked recently, but last we checked, anybody who enabled cloud apps for all. There may be some since then who have changed. Let me just take a look at the chat. Something came in. Someone says, is this configurable per library or is it available via institution-wide? This is an institution-wide configuration. It's not per library. However, the cloud apps work looking at the user's roles. So if a user doesn't have a role, for example, if we go back to that copy user roles from one user to another, if a staff user does not have a role which allows him or her to go into a user and change the roles, he or she won't be able to use that cloud app. Same on the roles that have a scope which is on the library level. So everything that is done via a cloud app looks at the user roles, including the scopes of that user. But back to the specific question here, this is a institution-wide configuration. The system administrator states, in my institution, I want the users to be able to use cloud apps, clicks the enable cloud apps, and they're good to go. Okay, let's go on. Let's take a look here at the developers network. Everything here in this, I've actually got this already in a link here. Everything that we're looking at now is in the developers network as well. For example, here I am. I'm going to send out this link, although all of these links are in that presentation. So if you have the presentation, you have these links. Here I'm looking at blogs about the specific cloud apps. People have written blogs, how to install and use the download bib cloud app. That one we're not going to be looking at today simply because of the time. Those of you who will be attending Igloo Knowledge Days, we will be showing that one because then we're going to have more time. We're going to have 90 minutes just for a session on cloud apps. We're going to go more in depth. So all of these are explanations of how to use, configure in cases where there is a configuration, specific cloud apps. Also, this one here, Ex Libris GroupCom Cloud Apps, is an overview of the cloud apps. If you just put here cloud apps. And here you can see the most recent cloud apps that have been added. Recently added cloud apps, and this is a good opportunity to state that the cloud apps are developed and maintained not only by Ex Libris but by the user community. In fact, some of that we're going to be looking at today were created by the Australia-New Zealand Regional Users Group, ANZREG. They had a hackathon to create cloud apps and made some very nice ones. Here we see the copy user roles one was made by University of St. Gallen. Just as an example, the print and lipstick by the Technion. Another one by University of St. Gallen. Here's one by the Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. Here's one by the Orbis Cascade Alliance. So these are created not only by Ex Libris, but also by the community. And excuse me, when they're created by the community, they're really answering a need. When we create them, they're also answering a need. When an institution creates them, they obviously have a need for that cloud app, for that specific functionality. And then the whole community can benefit from it, which is a very nice thing. Anytime a cloud app is installed, as soon as it's opened, the most current version comes in. So there's no need to worry if you have the most recent version, and there's no need to do any kind of updates. And I think that's enough on the PowerPoint. Let's just jump right in already and start using it. I see another question came in. Someone asked, how often are the apps updated? They're only updated according to need, which is not very often. If there's a bug in one, or if someone who developed it adds another feature, then it gets updated. However, there's no need to even concern oneself with when are they updated, because as soon as someone opens the Cloud app, it automatically gets the most recent version. So I think we're going to start now, and let's jump right in so that we don't end up using a PowerPoint and talking about the chat the whole time. The first one we're going to use is called the bulk scan-in, and it allows the institution, for example, to scan in multiple items all at the same time. We all know there's several places in Alma where you can scan in items. And in Alma, you can do one at a time. The bulk scan-in, which is one of the most popular cloud apps, after the printing of the spine labels, the bulk scan-in is one of the most popular. And let's take a look at it. So I have an input file here for the bulk scan-in, and I've got these barcodes. It's a file of barcodes, a TXT file that just lists barcodes one after the other. And let's take a look at the first two examples. I'm just going to copy both of these to my mouse. So let's take a look at them now, and then along the process of running the Cloud app, we'll see how they change, and we'll also see through this process how we can install a Cloud app, configure it, and use it. So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's just take a look at this first item just to see what's going on here. I've already got it from this morning here. Okay, so this item right now is in place in the main library, Feminism and Contemporary Art in Taiwan by Alicia Hen. Then we've got another one here, Quality Assurance and LIS Education. Again, item in place in the main library. Let's say now we want to move all of these, perhaps via a work order. This can also be done with work orders. We want to move this now to a certain department. And we're going to move it to a department which is called the disinfection department. I see that a question came in. I'm going to wait on the questions, and I'm going to go through the whole flow of using this Cloud app before we go back to the chats. Probably it will be answered. If not, we'll go then. So we're going to move this now to this disinfection department where we would normally need to scan it in. I'm just going to show what I mean by a department. So I went into the configuration, and I'm going into the main library, and I'm going into general and work order departments. So I've got a department here called disinfection department. In fact, somebody asked me via one of my blogs if this can be used via a work order. And the answer is yes. I don't see the person on here. So we're going to move it to this department right here, this disinfection department. And we're going to do the whole file of barcodes all at once. So let's do it. So we access the Cloud apps via, on the top right, I'm going to make this a little smaller just so I get all of the icons here, via this one here which says Cloud App Center. Now I'm going to make it a little larger. So now I got to get into it with the 3 dots. So we're going into the Cloud App Center. And the Cloud app that we're going to be using now is called the bulk scan-in. And this is it right here, but I'm going to remove it because I want to show how easy it is to activate a Cloud app. I'm not using the word install, note. I'm using the word activate because we don't really install it. We just activate it. It's already there in the cloud on the Ex Libris Higher Education platform, and all we're going to do is activate it. So I'm going to click here to delete this one. Now I don't have it. Let's say I heard about this wonderful new Cloud app called Bulk Scan-in, and now I want to install it. So I don't have it in my, I want to activate it. So I don't have it here in my activated apps. I can go to the available apps and scroll through, or I can just search. I click the search and say scan. So here it is, bulk scanning. And I'm going to click it. And once I click it, I've got an option here, activate. I click activate, and now it's already installed. I'm going to close this just to show that now, if I get to the cloud apps, it's going to be in the activated one. So now it's here. So we saw how easy it is to activate a cloud app. We don't need to start looking for it, download a file, tar gz, find the exe file, the executable file, double click it, nothing. All we do is click it, click activate, and we're done. And as you saw, it's done in a nanosecond. So now let's open it. So I'm just going to click it, and it's open. Now, some cloud apps, including this one, require some minimum configuration. Now, this, by its very nature, requires configuration because I need to state where am I scanning it into, which library, which department, which circulation desk. It can either be a department or a circulation desk. And to do the configuration, we click these three dots. But before I click the three dots, I want to point something else out. If you notice, if I click outside of this right pane where the cloud apps are, now I see my whole screen. And if I go back to the cloud app, now part of my screen is covered. However, I can always click this pin here, and then it readjusts the entire screen. So I see the whole screen on my left, and I see the cloud apps on the right. Let's go get that bulk scan in again. Now I'm going to click the pin. Now the Alma screen on the left readjusted. I've got the scroll bar here, and on the right it remains open. That's just like all throughout Alma, for example, the navigation pane of the metadata editor, as another example. Also the facets tab. Okay, so now I'm going to click these three dots, the action items, and we're going to go into the cog wheel, C-O-G, cog wheel, to configure it. So now we need to say, in this case, where am I going to scan it into? And I'm going to do the restore defaults just so whenever I'm going fresh. So I'm going to choose the library, which is mandatory. And then I can choose either a circulation desk or a department. And I'm going to choose a department. So my department, as we saw a moment ago, has the code DISDEPT. That's the disinfection department, a place where I send the items that need to be disinfected. Perhaps they have mold or whatever. And then I say down here, I can say when I scan it in, it's like I did done. Done means after it's already there, it goes right back into transit. And then other things as if I was in Alma and the Alma user interface. So now I've configured my settings and save. Now I'm ready to scan in that file. So I can either click here and choose that file, or I can go to wherever I've got that file, which is here, and I'm just going to drop it right here. And now I'm ready to scan. So now it's going through all of those barcodes in the file, scanning them all in, and it's going to give a log of each of them. So now here's each of the files. So it's each of the records. So it's giving the barcode, the title, the general information, and if there's an error, it would say that there's an error, and we don't see any errors here. Now if we go and look at those same two barcodes, now we see, let's close this so we get a bigger screen. Now it's not in place, and it's at the disinfection department. And let's look at the other one as well. It also is at the disinfection department with process type being disinfected and item not in place. So now we've scanned everything in, and it's all at the disinfection department. And this can be for any purpose, not just moving something to another department, there are multiple cases where people need to scan in a file of barcodes. Okay, so now let's say we want to get that back. So now we want to scan it in as if we had done done. When I say as if we had done done, if I was at one of these departments, if I was at the disinfection department, I'm just showing here, I don't have to go, but if I was here and I did scan in, there's an option here to click done. So also when scanning it in via the Cloud app, we can do that as well. I'm going to go back to my main library here, even though it doesn't matter where I am up here, we're choosing a location. So now we're going to scan it in again, but we need to change the configuration. Now we're going to say, let's first of all get the Cloud app open. So we're going to go to that bulk scan in. And we'll say here configuration. And now we're going to do main library, disinfection department. And now I'm going to click done down here. So this means when it gets scanned in, it will be as if done was checked. When done is checked, it's already automatically in transit to its original location. So let's do that. Now we're going to scan it in. That's all set up. I'll click save. And now let's put the file in here. Drag that in. And scan. And then again, we'll just look at two specific items. And here it is. They were all scanned in. And we can already see from here that they're in transit, but let's go take a look. So if I were to search for those barcodes again, now it's not in place and it's in transit back to the main library. So now the items are in transit to come back. Let's finish the process, look at the questions, and go on to the next Cloud app. So now again, we'll go into the Cloud app. Of course, this would be perhaps a few days in between each one. The institution would move the items to a place, scan it in, they'll all go there, scan them in again, they'll all go there. By the way, you could even make this file via Alma Analytics and get a bunch of items that way, printing out the barcodes. Okay, so let's open up again the bulk scan in. Again, let's drag in the file of, no, before we do that, let's configure it. So we'll go here to the configuration. Now we want to go from the main library, not to the department, but to the main circulation desk. Excuse me, main circulation desk. I've been talking all day, excuse me on the voice. So now it's going to get scanned into the main library to the main circulation desk. I no longer have the option to do done because done is only when we're at a department. We'll save that configuration. Again, get the file, scanner in here, and scan. So now it says if I'm at the desk, scanning them in. So now if we do that search again, now it's item in place. Let's take a look at the other example. This one here, and it's also item in place, no longer in transit. Okay. I want to point out one other thing, and all of the Cloud apps, not just this one, where I went to the configuration when we click those three dots, which is called the action items. If we go to this question mark, that brings to an online help. You can also see the online help where we were before. Here I'm in the Cloud apps, and here we can search, for example, for the bulk scan in. And here it is here. And here also, you've got an explanation of what it does. Scan in a file of barcodes. It's been activated 720 times. And let's go look at the questions. Okay, so someone asks, Is there a file size limit or recommended maximum number of items? I am not aware of a limit. Everything in a computer has a limit. I mean, if you were to put in 2 million items, it would probably get stuck. But I haven't seen a limit, and I actually don't even see a limit here on the online help. Nor do I have a recommendation. I haven't seen an issue where the file has been too big. So I don't know if there's a limit. I haven't seen a limit ever. Can you download the log if you need to or see historical logs? You can't download the log. You could just copy and paste it, and the historical logs aren't there. In bulk scanning, it looks like the department is free text. What would happen if you enter a mistake in the department name? Will it have an alert? I'm quite sure it would have an alert. For sure it would have an alert. That's how things are made. If I were to get rid of, if I were to go restore defaults and put in here the main library and put a department of who knows what and save and then try to run this, it's going to give me some kind of an error. It's that's just the way things. Oh, we'll even get to see the log file again, which someone wanted to see. So let's go back to that bulk scan-in. And let me see if I still got that configuration. Yes, so I have a non-existing department right now. Let's even do done at our non-existing department. Let's put this file in. And errors. Okay, so yes, we've got errors. The parameter department is invalid. So yes, you do get an error. Here, to the person who asked about the downloading and seeing the results, no, you can't. There's no download button here on the log. I did Control A, Control C, and I've got it. But there's no download of the log file. Okay, I'd really like to go on because it's already, we're a half hour into this and we've seen one cloud app. So let's go on to another one now. So another one is copy user roles. So this allows to copy user roles from one user to another user. It's useful, for example, when there's a user such as a student who works in the institution at a certain library and it changes a lot. It's a student worker and students come in and work a couple of months and you want to create another user exactly like the original user. There could be a lot of use cases, but you want to make a user exactly like another user. This was made, by the way, by the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland. So let's take a look at two users as our examples. So the first user we'll look at is Thurston Howell III. So Thurston Howell III has 8 roles, all active, and they generally deal with course reserves and circulation, generally. He's also acquisitions administrator, but generally course reserves and fulfillment. And then we have another user, Lillian Mueller. Lillian Mueller, edit, we'll say she has only role patron. Let's remove these. So Lillian has only the role patron. Thurston Howell has 8 roles. Lillian Mueller has 1 role. We have a use case where we want to take that user, Thurston Howell, copy exactly as they are, all of those roles to Lillian Mueller. So let's get the cloud app. And we already saw how easy it is to find and activate a cloud app. I've already got it here, so let's just open it. So there's also a configuration on this one. And here we can say, when I copy the user roles from Thurston to Lillian, do I want to add them to the user, or do I want to replace everything the other user has? And I can also say which roles do I not want to overwrite. So I'm going to go into the configuration here. I click the three dots, and now I'm going to click the wrench. And we're going to say here, copy user roles. We're going to say that we want to copy user roles from Thurston Howell to Lillian, and I'm not going to check the replace existing roles. And then if Lillian already has roles, then they will remain. Now note here, because I have Lillian Mueller open on my left, it automatically brings me Lillian Mueller here. Note also, because I have a user open already in Alma, when I access the Cloud Apps, it already gives me suggested Cloud Apps for this page. So I don't need to scroll them all through. If there's a Cloud App which is relevant for the page I'm already on, it brings it already. So we're going to go now to this copy user roles. And I'm going to say I'll search for Thurston Howell. Thurston, oh, I must have spelled something wrong here. Okay. So now we'll take this user. I can also see already here he has 8 roles. I'm selecting this user. Now he's already selected. And now I'm going to say copy user roles. Successfully copied user roles. So now if we open up this user, Lillian Mueller, we see that she has these 8 roles. Now let's say Lillian Mueller is going on vacation, or Lillian Mueller is no longer working in the library temporarily. We don't want to delete all of her roles. She's still a patron. We don't want to delete all of her roles because she may come back and we will just reactivate it. So instead of needing to click on each of these to deactivate them, we have a Cloud App called a role toggler. So now I'm going to take the role toggler. Let's go into Lillian Mueller one more time and confirm. She has 8 roles, all activated. And via the Cloud App called Role Toggler, I'm just showing example Cloud Apps. There's really a lot of them. It's recommended to look in the developers network at all the different ones. So here we're going to be able to say I want to deactivate certain roles except for ones I specify from the beginning. For example, I'm going to say patron, I don't want to deactivate. All the others I want to deactivate. So let's go into, let's actually get out of her. Okay. So now we'll go into the Cloud Apps. Again, it's bringing me suggested apps because I'm on this page. It's bringing me this. But if I wasn't on this page, if I was here, for example, and I came into the Cloud Apps, now it's not bringing me that suggested one, and I would need to search for it. Role Toggler. So now I'll say open. Here we have a configuration which says excluded roles, and this excluded role is patron. I could add another role. Now, excluded means it won't be activated and deactivated. And I could remove this one and add others as well. So now let's do this. So let's get Lillian Mueller again. We'll get to the Cloud Apps. We'll do the Role Toggler. And we'll say deactivate roles. So now it says success. And if we go look at Lillian, we'll see here that now only the patron, because that was excluded, only the patron is still active. Then she's done with her vacation or time not working in the institution. We want to give her her roles back. So then we can come and run the Cloud app again, the role toggler. Now we want to activate her roles. It says user Lillian Mueller because that's the one open on my screen. Activate the roles. It says active roles 8, success. And if we go look now, everything is activated. So that's the role toggler. Someone says, do we need to check the info webpage once a month to see if there is new apps? Less, more? You can check it at whatever rate you're interested. You don't even really have to go there to check it because it's already built into Alma. Here, in the available apps, you also see all of the apps. Someone says, I have encountered a problem in using the bulk scan-in. I have activated it. However, it disappears when I open Alma at another time using Chrome. Even if I search the apps, I can't see it. Okay, the best way to handle something like that, if one of your apps keeps disappearing, is via a support case. I'm not aware of that happening, nor am I aware of a solution. Someone says, is it possible to look at a copy of the code to discover it? There are cases where you can go to the code if you're interested in that. Once you're in a Cloud app, for example, I'll take the role toggler, and you go to the information. In some cases, there's a link to the GitHub where the actual code is. This was created, for example, the Alma role toggle that I just showed was created by University of Minnesota. And here there's not a link to the, oh yes, you can go into GitHub here if you have a GitHub account, and you can go look at all the files here. Okay, let's go on. Delete your sets, another Cloud app. So we have 6 minutes left. I'd love to take all the questions, but I think it's more important at this stage to move on here. By the way, the role toggler does not work on a set of patrons. It works on one patron at a time. That was a question that came in. So let's say I'm in Alma now, and I'm at admin manage sets. And we're looking at a Cloud app now called Delete Your Sets. Here in Alma, I can delete sets, my sets, by going action items, delete. And then I can do the next one, action items, delete, next one, action items, delete. I may, however, want to delete multiple sets all at once, or all of them. So there's a Cloud app for that as well. Let's go take a look. So again, Cloud app. I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to remove it just so we can see. I'm going to say, not the Cloud app, not the sets. I'm going to delete the Cloud app so we can see installing it again. I'm going to remove it. Now let's say I want this Cloud app. It's already telling me that a suggested Cloud app for the page I'm on right now is right here. So person who asked, do I need to go check for new Cloud apps on a regular basis? You can see it right here in Alma. I don't have the delete your sets. I'm going into the Cloud apps, and it's suggesting for me, because of the page I'm on, to take this delete your sets. So I clicked it, activated it, and now I'm ready to go. This one does not require any configuration. It's just a straightforward way of working. So here, I see now here all of these sets, which is the same as the sets I see here. I'm going to pin this open. I'm going to click pin. So now I see everything on the left, and one won't keep closing when I click the other. If I were to choose here, for example, sets of type digital files, and get this Cloud app going, now you see I only see these two because it's showing me what I see in Alma. And if I were to choose here, for example, physical items, here in the Cloud app, I also see only the two of the physical items. So what I see in the Cloud app is the same as what I see in Alma. So here, let's go to all. And if now I want to delete multiple sets, I can say all of them, check all of them, or I can say I want to delete all of these three that start with Rowling, all in one shot. You can see here I've got these three with Rowling. You can see I have 1 through 20 of 36. Here in the Cloud app, I'm going to click delete. And now I see 33 here instead of 36, and I don't have those that start with Rowling. Let's do one more, which is the Alma Refine. Even though we only have 2 minutes, if anyone wants to stay a little longer, let's run this Alma Refine one, because now we're going to run something that updates bib records. So the Alma Refine Cloud app, by the way, you're strongly recommended to look at all these under the blog. If you just go into Cloud Apps, for example, the Alma Refine one, but I'll just say Cloud Apps. There's a blog here, how to use the Alma Refine one. That's what we're going to be doing right now. And the Alma Refine updates, let's even type in here Alma Refine. It updates bibliographic records by adding a URI, a subfield 0, with a link. We're going to be doing this Alma Refine Cloud app for GND. GND is the German authority file, the German National Authority file, but we'll see in a moment you can use this for a lot of different authority files. And let's go run it. So let's go take a look at a record, and we can run this on multiple records all at the same time. I'm going to say okay, so let's take a look at this first record here. If we click on this, oops, let's actually go into the metadata editor. And I will unpin that, and I will close that. Okay, so this record here, for example, myths of computer security. So if I look at, for example, the 650s, this 650, it has GND, but does not have a subfield 0. This one here, Memoirs of a Computer Pioneer, has 650s with GND and no subfield 0. So Memoirs of a Computer Pioneer, I'm in it right now. It has 650 fields with a subfield 2 GND and no subfield 0. I'm going to close these. Memoirs of a Computer Pioneer, we'll remember. So if I come into that Cloud app, which is the Alma Refine here, and this can work either on a set or whatever's on the screen. Because I have nothing on the screen right now, it's giving me only the set. However, if I say here a search for these two records, now if I activate that one, first of all, now it's a suggested app. And now I can do it either on a set, on all of the displayed records, or all selected records. I'll do it on the Memoirs of a Computer Pioneer just because we're already 1 minute over time. And in the configuration, I'm going into the configuration, we can say these are the different vocabularies which can be used to add the URI, Uniform Resource Identifier, in the subfield 0. And I'm going to choose GND. You can also use BNF, which is from the French authorities, the Getty vocabulary, the SUDOC, which is also French, Wikidata, or Italian, excuse me. And let's look at the GND. And in the GND, I have said add it to the subfield 0, prefix it with this, and go here to get the information. But that's just the defaults anyway. And I can do it on the 100, and I can do it on the 650. So it's already set up. There's nothing to do there. So now let's run it and say Alma refine. I'm going to select the service. I'll do it on both records. Select the service. Well, let's actually just do this one. Selected records. The Memoirs of a Computer Pioneer. I'll choose the GND, begin the refining. Now it's updating that record. And I can choose for these two 650s. I'm going to say I want to use that heading and I want to use that heading. And everything's all set. Save. So now it's updating those records. It says successfully updated the records. Now if we go look at this record, let's say edit record again, we see here that it added those subfield zeros here. With this, that's the prefix we had. And if we take this, it should show us the GND for this one, Engineering Wissenschaften. So if I take that and go here, just to show that it really is bringing the correct heading, here it is for that same heading. Okay, we are out of and over time. Someone asked a nice question. Thank you. Does Lovey know about Thurston giving Lillian his role? Very nice, very nice. There's always a few people who know those insider issues. Someone says, can you copy the user roles with a role profile, for example, to share updated expiries? I haven't played around with doing it with expired users or roles. I'd have to check on that one. Okay, so that looks like we've covered these. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining. We will be posting this recording, as always. And we hope to see you in the rest of the sessions. You've got the link to the Knowledge Day sessions. We've got another one tomorrow, and then another one the day after tomorrow, which I believe is Wednesday. So thanks, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you in the rest of our sessions. Have a nice day.